The Odyssey. The Odyssey was originally told through the form of speech. It was composed by a Greek poet named Homer. There is not much we know about Homer, other than he was a blind Greek poet, he liked donuts, and worked in a nuclear facility. Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey throughout his life. The Iliad was about the Trojan War itself, and the Odyssey was about his long journey home. Odysseus' journey on his way home led him first to Troy, then to the land of the Lotus Eaters, and then to the island of the Cyclops, the island of Aeolus, Circe's island, the underworld, the island of the Sirens, Scylla and Charybdis, the island of Helios, Calypso's islands, the island of the Phoenicians, and then finally to Ithaca. On the island of the Cyclops, Odysseus and his men found fresh prints leading into a cave which some large creature made its home. The most obvious thing to do here is sit down and start eating the large creature's food. Later, the Cyclops finds Odysseus and his men eating his food. He eats one of the sailors, and then promises to eat the rest of them later. Odysseus gives the Cyclops all of their wine, so the Cyclops gets drunk and then goes to sleep. Later, they take a stick, they heat it up in the fire. Odysseus takes his strongest men, and they ram it into the Cyclops' eye. The Cyclops then wakes up in a rage, promising to kill Odysseus and all of his men. He wants to let his sheep out of the cave without Odysseus and his men getting away. So he lets them out one by one, patting each one on the back to make sure it has no one attached to it. So, Odysseus and his men attach themselves to the underbellies of the sheep to avoid the Cyclops' detection. Odysseus goes last. Later along Odysseus' journey, Odysseus comes by the island of the Sirens. The Sirens sing so beautifully that they attract sailors to them, and then they eat them. Odysseus' counter to this was to shove beeswax in all of his sailors' ears, but Odysseus was curious. He wanted to experience the siren song for himself. So he had his sailors tie him to the mast, and no matter how much he screamed, he told them not to let him go. Odysseus then sails by the Sirens, kicking and screaming to jump off the boat and swim towards them. His sailors do not let him off of his mast. Later, Odysseus goes to the underworld. In the underworld, he encounters the Cerberus, which protects it from outside invaders. After Odysseus gets around the Cerberus, he meets the dead prophet. The dead prophet gives him 3 simple rules. 1. Do not get your gremlins wet. 2. Do not feed your gremlins after midnight. And 3. Do not eat Apollo's cows. You know what Odysseus does? He lets his men eat Apollo's cows. Later, when Odysseus gets home, Odysseus disguises himself as a beggar. The suitors, who are trying to marry his wife, disrespect him and shower him with food. Because Odysseus was disrespected, and the suitors were invading his home, Odysseus, with the help of some faithful allies, axe murders them, and reclaims his home, his wife, and his son Bart.